exciting. It's the second half of Pure West Sport with Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors. I'm Ben Stone, Fraser Watson, Gordon Thomas, Tom Dyer standing by this Monday night as we celebrate Haverfordwest County's return to European football for the first time since 2004. That penalty from Corey Shepherd proved decisive as Tony Pennock's side won 4-3 on penalties at Newtown. We'll reflect on that and we'll be joined by the manager in the next 20 minutes or so to get his thoughts on a special weekend for the Bluebirds. Elsewhere, we'll look back on Saturday's tour of Pembrokeshire. We'll get thoughts on Hakin United's run to the West Wales Cup final. We've got local rugby and cricket to cover. And I'm sure a mention from me, at least, on the Premier League title race, now that Arsenal are pretty much out of it. That's all on the way right here on Pure West Sport this Monday night. Gentlemen, a very good evening to you. Fraser, how are you?
Not too bad, Ben. A bit sun-baked and sore after an afternoon of cricket, but no, was back in the change rooms in time to watch the Haverfordwest penalties on my phone as I was drying off in the shower. So an exciting finish.
Yeah, it certainly was, and we're going to come to that when Tony Pennock joins us very soon. But Gordon, that was an exciting Saturday, wasn't it, for the Bluebirds? Of course, they got through the Cardiff Met game on penalties as well, and you just thought, is their luck going to run out? But it just about held, didn't it? Evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, Ben. Yeah, it was a case of deja vu in it from the previous Saturday. The same scenario as well, which was fantastic for the Bluebirds. 19 years since they've been in Europe, but we'll talk about that a bit later.
And Tom, evening to you as well. Great to have you with us. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. And I took part in some motorsports yesterday, so just to break it up from the football talk as well. It was good fun.
Good stuff. It's been a good sporting weekend then, absolutely right. Yeah, we're going to talk to Tony Pennock very soon and we'll get some thoughts on Haverfordwest County. So just before we do talk to Tony, maybe just a quick one from the three of you, from you as well, Gordon and Fraser, just on European football for Haverfordwest. You'll remember back to 2004 when the Bluebirds were last in it. We'll talk specifically about this year's side with Tony, but where does this rank compared to the 2004 effort, would you say, in terms of an achievement?
Well, it's right up there, isn't it? You know, it's only the second time in the club's history. I was fortunate enough to go to Ninian Park when they played against the Icelandic team, but I never got over to Iceland for some unknown reason. I don't hold it against Steve Adams. I'm not going to go that road. No, it's a great achievement, you know, and considering where they were at Christmas, I think they had 14 games since Christmas, won 10, drew the 2 and lost 2. So it's quite a remarkable turnaround, to be fair. And they've beaten 2 quality sides in their own backyard to get there. So well done.
And Fraser, we've had Wayne Jones on, haven't we? And we've spoken about the playing in Europe for Haverfordwest. And he talks with a lot of passion and pride about that. And you feel that the current crop of players will do the same. It's a big thing, this, isn't it?
It's quite nice seeing the old photos flying around, actually. You had Tim Hicks in there, didn't you? Wayne Jones, Lee Hudshaw with his dodgy highlights, if he's watching back in those days, Lee. But to see the photo 19 years ago, to see the faces. Look, it's a step forward. No denying it, a step forward since they come in the Premiership. The Welsh Premiership, that they've avoided finishing in the bottom 2, which is their primary goal. But Rob Evans hasn't invested to keep staying out of the bottom 2. We know that he's invested to take the club forward, and this is the first representation of that. They want to nail a top 6 finish this season. Next season, that hasn't been achieved yet, but this is a major step forward in terms of the promotion of the club and the progress on the field as well.
Absolutely brilliant effort from the Bluebirds, and more on that to come. Let's just focus a bit on some other local football news, though. And of course, last week, Hakin United made it through, didn't they, to the West Wales Cup final at the, I always have to get the name right, and I was actually in Swansea at the weekend. I still call it the Liberty Stadium. It's the
Swansea.com.
Swansea.com.
I'm terrible. Yeah. It's always the Millennium Stadium for me, and it always will be these stadiums.
Try the Liberty, man.
I'm not, and the Liberty as well. No, I'm just terrible with all the stadium names. When they change, I can't keep up with them. So, a great effort from Hakin. They went 1-0 up, didn't they, in the final against Penlan, and were undone by 2 late goals. What were your thoughts on that last week?
Well, I was there, Ben. So I thoroughly enjoyed the game. It was a good game of football. Hakin started very brightly. They should have gone a couple of goals up before they actually scored their goal, which Jack Britton put into the net. It came back to haunt them in the second half. Unfortunately, they didn't play to the level that Scott Davis would have expected them to. But you've got to give Penlan a lot of credit as well. You know, they came back in the 77th minute with an equaliser. A lot of people felt it was offside, but it was given. So 1-1, and unfortunately, the Hakin heads sort of dropped straight from that moment. And it gave, Penlan the inspiration to go on and win it. And it was a cracking goal, the second goal by the substitute that came on. Young lad, he took his goal brilliantly. You can give him full credit for that. And then right at the end, Hakin got the ball, which they felt was in the net. And it was clawed out.
Well, there's something I was going to talk to you about, actually, good, because I wasn't there and itself. I've watched video footage before I came on the show, actually. And I agree with what you say about both Penlan goals. There was a suspicion offside. I thought it looked tired defending for both goals. I have to say that. You say it was a good finish there. But the goal at the end, I couldn't understand, was it ruled out for a foul? Because I can't believe it was ruled out for not crossing the line. It was a good yard and a half over the line.
That was the thing, Fraser. It wasn't obvious why it was disallowed. I thought perhaps the keeper had been impeded when Gareth went in and nodded it in. But nobody seems to give me a clear answer
from the video. That's the only thing I could really source to, because it was too far over the line for that not to be.
Yeah, you would have thought, but we never got the true explanation of why that wasn't given. So yeah, I didn't have a chance to talk to the officials after anyway. Sure. There was just mayhem after. But it's 19 years since Hakin last got there. Gary Dawes was skipper, actually, not manager. He's skipper. Tansey. He was the last man to. Yeah, Tansey was Chris Tansey was manager, and I was at that game, and that was at the Vetch, Ben. So it's a long time when you think of all. Yeah, it's a long time when you think that there's been a lot of quality sides since then from Hakin, and they haven't got to the West Wales Intermediate Cup. Yeah, and unfortunately, they didn't have lady luck with them in the end on Saturday. But they can feel proud of their achievement by getting there anyway. Hopefully, that'll give them inspiration to work, get there next season and possibly win it.
And we heard from the Hakin manager, Scott Davis, didn't we, in the first hour of the show? He was speaking to Bill Kahn. So you'll be able to listen to that again as a podcast at purewestradio.com. Let's just move on then and talk about something else we heard about in the first hour, which was the tour of Pembrokeshire. Pure West Radio were, of course, all over that on Saturday. It's a great event that's grown up so much year on year. And Fraser, you were down there, weren't you? You had a really good interview with the organizer and the MC and some of the people taking part. What was the atmosphere like on Saturday?
Oh, it was excellent. I think kept mentioning the weather in the interviews, and that really did make it. Of course, they were congregating St David's. You had the 120 mile going off early. I think the 180, 60, or I think I've got those distances right. There were 4 different distances that went off anyway. And yes, there was a lot of smiling faces there, to be fair. There was some hard luck stories as well. I think Solver, 2 miles down the road, was the record for a cyclist to be rescued after a bike failure, and I think he'd set off on the 120 miler. So that was a long day planned then very early. But no, they put on a very good show. They have stalls dotted around the place, don't they? And nutrition stalls, coffee stalls. There's a very good atmosphere before. It tends to be relaxed. The fact that it's not an official race, Ben, relaxes people a lot. I think you tend to be there for your own enjoyment or for raising money for charity. So yeah, it's got a very good feel about it, and the weather as well. And St David's has hosted it well. It's been hosting various venues, actually, not always been at the school in the last couple of years, but no, it's one of those big Pembrokeshire events which a lot of people stop for, and it's one that has stood the test of time and will continue to, I think.
I think entries have grown as well, haven't they, Fraser, over the years, because that's how popular it is now, which is great.
I mean, close to, if not over 1,000 cyclists, I think.
That's incredible, isn't it? That's incredible.
And with the variety of routes as well. I mean, and the distances, they're not easy routes at all, are they? But a really good showcase for Pembrokeshire.
There's no easy route out of St David's, I can tell you that.
No. You can't run to Solver without a hill getting you.
I made my way up to Fishguard, and we were watching some of the cyclists come down, and I was like, they've come all the way across the peninsula, and they don't just go back on the main road, they're going up Goodick, and then they've got to go towards Mathery, then back up Mathery Hill. It's a grueling, if you want it, it's as grueling as anything else. It's quite a cycle.
Yeah, that's an excellent effort. So well done to
That's why
everyone.
Fraser and I don't cycle.
No, I think there'll be some painful quads and calf muscles after that, whichever route you did. Well done to everyone that took part.
Yeah, brilliant.
Have we finally got some summer? At least we've got some action in the cricket, haven't we, this weekend?
Yeah.
What were some of the highlights, chaps, this weekend?
Yeah, well, highlight was a full programme. We haven't had that for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
No, I saw, as the fleet through obviously Division 1, I think Cresselly still the only unbeaten team as champions, setting the pace.
Yeah.
But it's still closing up out there. I think
it's early days, isn't it?
Nayland chasing down 210, I think it was, in Loreni, quite narrowly. It was an important win to them because they've already lost once. And that did go to the tail. Di Davis, a new signing. We knew he would get runs with 50 plus, didn't he? Not out. So it was an important win for them. Cresselly keeping on track as well. Huge total hit from Kilgetty in Division 2. I'm sure you saw it go past 300 against Cresselly second. Toby Poole, who spent Ola last year scoring tons in Division 3. I was on the receive. I watched 2 of them from behind the stumps, and he started again well this year with 130 in his first game. So some struggling sides out there in the top 2 divisions as well. They've got Johnson as well looking.
Yeah, Johnson have struggled to get a side the last couple of weeks. Thankfully, they did get a team to play at Hook when I went there on Saturday, Fraser. But they'll be disappointed that they've lost a few players. They were hoping to have a good campaign, but the politics down in Johnson is between them all. But it is a shame. Yeah, exactly. But credit for Hook. You can only beat what's in front of you, and they had a hide in the week before at the racecourse against Haverfordwest. So,
great knock by Matthew Kiff.
Matthew! I was lucky. I was down there just as he got in, and he hit a couple of huge sixes then, and I had the feeling that it was in his water that he was going to have a big score. And at the time, Narberth, Ben Quartermain, and the young boy Louis Davis were bowling well, and Louis Davis actually trapped Steve Inwood, LBW, and I thought once Steve had gone, the writing was on the wall for Langer, but a great recovery from Matthew Kiff. A century knock again, a tremendous knock, and it gave them a winning total in the end, to be fair.
They've got that in them now, haven't they? They've got
a few boys there,
players, which is why they won the Harris Allen Bowl.
Exactly. They're not reliant on one person.
Good stuff. And as you say, I think the important thing was that we actually got some cricket, because it does get frustrating, doesn't it? When those there's
another matter. But I am going to get this off my.
They shouldn't
play. They shouldn't play so early. They shouldn't be playing in April, in my opinion. They should stick to May. I mean, the football and the rugby season was still finishing off, but that's another. There's problems with that. But the cricket season should officially start in May. In my.
Would you go back to Bank Holiday Monday?
Yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Get those 2 done. I mean, other people, we all have different opinions, but I felt that worked better. And the weather, it can be dodgy in April.
I don't think. Would you get much resistance on that though? Would there be much resistance on that happening though? I would have thought. I don't know why they've actually. Well, there was a rule between. It wasn't a rule as such, but. Between the governing bodies, they said, look, rugby and football will finish end of April and the cricket season will start in May. And now all of a sudden, the county cricket club or whoever has decided now to go a couple of weeks into April starting when the season's still being finished. And, it does cross over with the players as well. I'm not saying it's, it's just, I just feel that it should start in May. That's my personal opinion. And I will upset a few people by saying that, but there you go. No, I think it's a fair view. Fraser, how about your Saturday? How did you get on this weekend? We like to follow your season.
Yeah, long. I batted through 40 overs, having opened on Saturday. And for the first 20, I bored most of the crowd to death and turned a lot of kids off cricket with about 10 to 15 singles.
Yeah.
And then I opened up with some fireworks, Ben, and ended 66 not out.
Yeah.
And had Saunders foot on strings, but they did pass it, unfortunately. We were 157 for 4 for us. They passed it with a few wickets to go. But 40 wickets of batting and 30 odd of wicket keeping. I enjoyed my pint by 7 o'clock.
Exactly.
I did.
Those of you who are old enough, his hero was Jeff Boycott. And Jeff Boycott, when he was playing test cricket, would be in all day and scored about 40 runs. So Fraser's done a great job.
6 boundaries in that 66.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Open the old shoulders with 2 overs to go. Good.
Yeah. They were tired by then, Fraser.
They were
tired.
They were.
Yeah.
There we are. A dogged innings. Never mind Bazball. Fraser doing old school on Saturday. Excellent knock. Well, listen, we'll take a moment. We'll talk more about that result for Haverfordwest County, the story of the season, and the last 2 games, and what it could mean for the Bluebirds in terms of that European adventure, which is to come. And in fact, as we'll touch on in a few moments' time, it's not a million miles away either. That the draw will be in June, and European football starts very, very early. So lots to think about for everyone at Haverfordwest County. We'll get to that. There's still rugby going on. Incredible, isn't it? 15th of May, we'll round up the end of the season and some of the business that's been sorted. We've also got the Pembrokeshire Knockout Cup final to come on Friday in Whitland, and Fraser and Gordon have got some stories, I think, to tell of their own on that, and possibly they'll name their most memorable final. So we'll do that before 9 o'clock right here on Pure West Sport with Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors. Good to be with you this Monday evening.
Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors have tradition.